Welcome to The 15th Floor, a Radiohead reaction podcast where a Gen X father tries to convince his Gen Z son that Radiohead is the greatest band of all time. By introducing him to Radiohead music one song at a time, you'll hear him react to that song for the first time, and I'll, as a Radiohead fan, get to talk about why it contributes to the idea that Radiohead is the greatest band of all time, and tell you why I love that song, and why it's great and wonderful, and some of the interesting things they do. And I keep talking and talking and talking, and people who watch get madder and madder and madder and madder because I keep talking so much.
Yep.
Of course I talk too much. That's exactly why I'm part of this podcast. If it was meant for you to just react to, I wouldn't be here, and I'm sure people would be happy with that.
It'll be 4 minutes long.
It would be you listening to a song and going, okay.
Yep.
But that's not what we decided to do. We decided that because I love Radiohead so much, I would talk about why it's so great and use the influence that every father has on their children to brainwash you into thinking like me. And I know full well that you might not think exactly like me, but you will respect Radiohead.
I think I already.
Or you can pack up.
I think I already respect them.
Thank you for all your suggestions. In our I Promise video, we asked for suggestions from A Moon-Shaped Pool. So today we're going back to 2016's A Moon-Shaped Pool, their most recent studio album, and the most votes were for Present Tense. Thank you to Melchior Aksak. Melchior Aksak, gone. I don't know where that guy went. He's probably going by a different name. Maybe he abandoned the channel long ago. Melchior, come back. Clash Panda 120, Mark Andrzejak, Andrew Rawlinson, Inverse Midas, Coleman Diaz, and The Dude. Great name, The Dude. The Dude abides. I mean, that's just like, your opinion, man. Coleman Diaz, he suggested this song, but in fairness to everybody, Coleman Diaz recommended basically every song from this album. But he specifically mentioned this one, so we'll do it too. We'll include him in it. Remember, this is their most recent studio album, and a lot of orchestration, but this is a very minimal song with some unique... it makes it stand out a little bit from the rest of the album. No more talk until I talk a lot more later, and until you talk a lot more later. Let's do 2016. From 2016's A Moon-Shaped Pool, this is Present Tense.
notice it's getting a little bit more like something's about to happen.
Yeah, there's
like
more,
I
there's
feel
more
something.
emotion.
I feel something building up. I feel like but I don't know. I like the guitar. I feel like, but I also feel like the guitar. I was gonna say doesn't belong, but that's not. I don't know. Because like I feel like it just doesn't sound like a Radiohead guitar, but probably because it's more acoustic than usual. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's pretty.
It's more acoustic, and I don't know. I guess it's 2016. I don't know. I was gonna say it sounds so much more modern, but it's 2016, so I guess that doesn't count. But so far, I'm not a big fan. It might get better. I don't know, but like I don't know. It's I don't know.
If you're waiting for some big explosion of sound, that's not going to happen. If you're waiting for some explosion of feeling, I'm going to ruin this for you. It is going to happen. Tom York's vocal performance alone on the line "This Dance" is so good. It's just so not Tom York. It's so tribal. It's so ancient. And he's going a place that Radiohead doesn't often go. And also the mood of the song, which we'll talk a lot about more. I'll stop talking. Let's listen to the rest of the song. This dance, the feeling of the song when he starts, and then the "In You I'm Lost" refrain is beautiful. It's not just beautiful melodically, and it is. The whole song feels beautiful to me. Now, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say all that before you talk, because I don't want you to think that if you don't say it's beautiful, you're not a sophisticant like myself. But
after hearing more clearly of the difference between the first part of the guitar and the second half of the guitar, I do feel like, oh, that's sweet. But there's just a lot of moments where I don't want to like. Tom York has his way of singing, and it's slurred. Is that the right word? Like he kind of like mixes his words together. He doesn't really like clearly say every word.
Oh yeah,
clearly, and obviously that's not a bad thing, and obviously that's why a lot of people like Radiohead, because that's way different than what most people do.
Yeah, it definitely adds a bit of soul when you know if you enunciate, you lose a lot of soul, you lose a lot of passion.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I get that slurred. I mean, here, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because it's like sad to happy, but because when the last In You I'm Lost, when it was very like
Yeah. Yes.
yeah, you guys know. And the last In You I'm Lost, it's like he says every word and you know what he's saying.
He finally makes it clear.
Yeah, and he sings it differently, which kind of helps but compared to the other. I feel like right there I'm like, wow, that would have been so good if the rest of that song was like that. But okay, I've been kind of trash talking the song. I did like it a little bit better after listening to the whole song. I am sure it's a song that if I keep listening to, I definitely like it. Because now noticing the tiny details, I think if I ever go back, I can listen to those tiny details and say, it's pretty good.
Now, the guitar you mentioned, so I'll bring it up. These are arpeggios, classic Radiohead. They love their arpeggios. And it's Tom and Johnny both playing arpeggios. They're actually playing the same chord progression. Now, do you remember what arpeggios is?
Isn't that like the...
It's when you play a chord and you play notes out of sequence in the chord. So if I were to hold, say, a G and press down all the strings in all the frets that belong to that G, and I would play the strings in a particular order. So ultimately, if I were just strumming, I'm playing all those notes, but I'm picking those notes in a certain order. So they're playing the same chords. They're just playing them in different styles of arpeggio. Johnny is playing something different than what Tom is playing, out of different order, but playing the same chords. And with maybe a slight delay in Johnny's guitar. And in live versions, you hear a little bit, it's a little quieter for sure. And then you hear what is perhaps the best known part of this song is that it has that shaker, which gives it a sound like what is classically referred to as bossa nova. So if you ever had a Casio keyboard and you selected bossa nova as your beat, then it is that boom, dum, boom, 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 dum, boom, boom, boom. And they're getting that from an old, in live versions, they use an old drum machine called a CR78. And what that is it's a very old looking drum machine, which means you can put your own beats in, you can create a beat with it and then press a button and it just plays that beat for you. It was very advanced for its time. This is a song I've heard dozens, if not 100 times. And it's as much as any Radiohead song it can get me kind of emotional. I'm kind of a sap when it comes to lots of things. Lyrically, a tragic point in a relationship type of song, but he just expresses it so well. And I don't know, play it at my funeral because I'd be fine with this song being played at my funeral. Just over the montage of me, of all my pictures, I want people to cry viciously at my funeral, and this would help. I like you bringing up the last In You I'm Lost because it's the most clear, most present In You I'm Lost. Dun-dun-dun. And I love that Radiohead is never afraid to say to dangle the carrot of, we know what you want, but we're not going to do that yet because I'm still hammering this point home. And then at the last moment, for a minute there, I lost myself. Where they justify what they've built up to, and they are not afraid to pay it off slowly. I don't know if I'm describing that very well, but I don't care. It's actually kind of an older song, like a lot of Radiohead. This is one that Radiohead fans were kind of waiting for. We weren't sure if we were going to get it in a Thom Yorke solo album or Atoms for Peace or something like that, because he was playing it, they had been playing it since 2009, 2010. So we knew it was out there, and then this is the studio version, and I think this is a beautiful version. This is a great, satisfying bow to the fans who were waiting for it. Whereas other songs that Radiohead fans had been waiting for a long time, we finally got in studio versions. Lift, True Love Waits, the last song on this album. We had it and we were so grateful for it, but it might not have been exactly what we wanted. That's rough to say. I'm sorry. I don't want to make it sound like I didn't appreciate that they finally put these on. But this is a beautiful version. I don't know. Tell us what you think. A lot of people requested present tense because when we said we were going back to Moonshaped Pool and we hadn't done this one yet, it's a good one to go to and say, especially for someone who's starting to understand. I think that Radiohead doesn't have to be creep every time. You're well past that phase.
Yeah.
Radiohead doesn't have to be creep or high and dry. It can be much more deep and meaningful, and that's exactly what they want you to know about their career. By the way, let's see what the kids thought. For those of you who haven't seen our channel before, I played the song for my younger children, and then they draw a picture based on what they think the song made them feel, what they thought it was about. There's no wrong answer. So her drawing is of a robot. And the robot is imagining his house burning, and he's screaming no. Yeah. So the robot gets the crash and burn relationship that present tense puts you in. And then his drawing, of course, the song is present tense. So he drew a Christmas tree and a person saying, "Open your present," and the other person saying, "Okay." The tree does look like it's on fire. And the presents under the tree are probably actually presents, but I'm going to read deeper into this, and I see
people.
People, yeah. The present, the people are some way the present. Oh man, so many ways you can go. Frame this, put it on your wall. It's an absolute piece that will spark discussion and commentary, and the artist connoisseurs that come over to your home will just stare at it and swirl their wine if you do something like that, and just what the artist was going for here was, and they'll have all sorts of ways to go with it. Mm-hmm. That was a lot.
You're trying to work.
Yeah, thank you all so much for your comments. Even when you comment simply and just say great video, we really love that, and it really helps get eyes on the channel, and it helps us come back and do more. And even when our viewership isn't as strong as it used to be, but we got some new subscribers, so there's that.
6.5.
Oh yes, supposed to ask you. 6.5 is like your go-to.
Well, because saying 6 is mean, but saying 7 is like, oh, I respect this.
You do respect it.
I do respect it, but I guess 6.5 is actually pretty accurate here, because it would have been a 6, but then like going back and actually hearing the change and hearing and seeing the mood change is a little bit better. So it's 6.5 for right now, but I can guarantee if I keep listening to it, it will go higher.
Guarantee.
I
think I think of a lot of songs that I think I'm gonna make you a mixtape, and it's gonna have Wolf at the Door, this song, yeah, so many others that I think on first listen you're like, yeah, that was pretty good. We'll call this mixtape the 6.5s or the 7s. And I think you'll hear them again, and a lot of them you'll be like, okay, that is, yeah, I get it. I don't expect you to listen to it and say, that is actually a 9. But you'll definitely say, yeah, I do really like that. And we'll mixtape it up. Do you know what a mixtape is?
It's when you combine lots of songs into
right.
one little tape.
Yeah. Out there in the world, there are at least a dozen mixtapes of mine that I made for a girl somewhere, and she probably still has them. Lots of U2's One on those. So enjoy those wherever they are. They're worth nothing at this point. So please, please, please continue to love one another. Keep listening to music together. You're now leaving
the 15th floor.